I got involved with New Song Cafe just as a member, as an attendee, probably about 3 years ago. Started coming with my wife, who sings in the band now, and we just came along and just found it something that was really good. We were going through a really tough time then. We just lost our little boy at birth, and we found a lot of love and friendship from the people that we met around New Song. So going through that time, we had a lot of care from Jackie, saw a lot of leadership from Jackie, and we saw in New Song something that was actually quite special, quite different.
New Song Cafe started about 3.5 years ago, almost 4 years ago, and we started with the idea of moving into Costa Coffee and having church in Costa. That seemed a really good idea at the time. 3.5 years ago, we began worshipping in the hall at Bowl Street Methodist Church, and the intention was to meet there just for a few months, and we really thought that only 20 people would turn up for worship there. The first night, 65 people turned up, and we had to quickly change our mind and move from the coffee shop where we intended to worship into the hall at Bowl Street. 3.5 years on, and we're still worshipping here, and we haven't quite made it to Costa, because what's happening here is we're getting about 125 people each month turning up for worship. Worship which is different and varied and lively, and attracting people from a very wide arena, from different churches, but also people travelling from Manchester, from Shrewsbury, from Chester, a wide variety of places to come and worship it with us here on a Sunday night once a month. It's exciting, and it's a bold move, a brave move, but it's bringing people in. There are so many stories that stand out, so many stories that are special, but there's the one girl that drove home one night with her mum, and her mum said to her, "What's so special about New Song Cafe? Is it the cake? Because it really is nice." And she said, "No, the cake's nice." And she said, "Is it the fun videos that we show?" She said, "Well, the videos are good." "Is it the band? Because they're brilliant." And she said, "No, the bands are really good." And she said, "What is it? What makes it so special?" And this 9-year-old girl said, "When I'm there, it feels like God's sitting right next to me." That's a special story. There's a special story of families who haven't worshipped together for so many years. There's mums and dads and children and cousins and grandchildren that come and sit around a table together. In fact, they get here so early that they might sit around a table together. There are people who have been in hospital, and they come out of hospital and they don't come to church on a Sunday morning. These are in their 80s. They come to New Song Cafe as the first time they come back to church after being away for 3 months. And there are stories of people who have been away from church for many years because they've been hurt. And the first time they come back to church is through New Song Cafe. It's a safe space, and that's the stepping stone of getting back into church again. And there are many, many more stories too of people whose lives have been transformed through a stepping stone through New Song Cafe and New Song Network back into church again.
I think it's been really exciting seeing how New Song has grown over time and how it's evolved. I mean, it started as just the cafe, and then we became aware that people were coming exclusively to this. Some people are coming as like a top-up as well as their regular church, but other people were coming along, and this was the only experience of church they were having, was New Song. And in response to that, we realised we needed to evolve and do more. So we have added other things like a New Song breakfast. And a lot of the thinking behind that was specifically to give people more teaching and more input, and really take responsibility ourselves for these people who were seeing New Song as a church in its own right.
A vision for the future for New Song Network is that it continues to grow. The strategy for us is a strategy of growth for the next few years, is that the numbers in New Song Cafe would increase. We're having to move from the hall where we're in now. We're having to move down to the bigger sanctuary area. We're having to sell our pews and buy chairs because we need to fit in down there. And our strategy for growth is to be at least double, if not treble, the size of what we are now in 2 or 3 years. That leads us to bigger questions. Where will we go then? Because we're going to outgrow the premises here. But that's a great position to be in. We want to make a difference in people's lives. We want God to make a difference in people's lives, and we're prepared to do that and to go where God's leading us. And that's the exciting bit. Where He goes, we follow.